Hello, today I'm going to talk to you about developing the thesis statement into an effective essay. A reminder from a previous video that the three main elements to remember in writing a good essay are unity, development, and coherence. Other reminders: the key to unity is a good thesis. It ties the whole essay together. It provides a guide for you as you gather your information and support. It also guides your word choice and writing style. Think of it like an umbrella. It covers everything in the essay while also providing a through line within the body of the essay. Now, other key points to keep in mind. Use the thesis as a guide for developing the supporting ideas in the body paragraphs. Pick up on key words from the thesis in the essay's body paragraphs. And make sure all of the supporting ideas in the body paragraphs contribute to support of the thesis. Now we're going to practice doing this. From a previous video, we did a brainstorm on healthcare, and we came up with these subtopic areas and then grouped them together to form a thesis. The most important consideration in healthcare reform should be access to services. We had these subtopic areas: access to doctors, access to wellness care, access to testing and diagnostics, access to vaccines. Let's develop one of those subtopic areas into more sub-subtopic areas. Access to doctors. Primary care doctors available in all geographic areas. Available appointments. Specialists available in or near all geographic areas. Doctors with comfortable offices. Now, we might all agree that a comfortable office is very important, but it is not connected to the idea of access, so it does not belong. Now let's do another subtopic area: access to wellness care. Annual exams available at low or no cost and encouraged. Health and wellness education available and encouraged. Well baby care available at low or no cost and encouraged. Emergency room visits covered. Now, while emergency rooms might be connected to the idea of access, they are not connected to the subtopic area of wellness, so that does not belong. Now we're going to develop one of our subtopic areas more fully: primary care doctors available in all geographic areas. Government should incentivize doctors to practice in geographic areas of need, including urban and rural areas. Notice how when we get down to this level of development, we begin writing in complete sentences. Government should incentivize doctors to practice primary care instead of specialization. There should be cooperation with local and state governments to make it advantageous for doctors to practice in underserved areas. Now let's try another subtopic area: available appointments. Doctors should be encouraged to broaden practice hours, utilizing nurse practitioners to increase availability. Doctors should be trained and encouraged to use telemedicine. Practices and patients should be trained and encouraged to use online patient portals for access to healthcare services. Now, we have introduced the concept of patient portals, which does not necessarily fit under the heading appointments. It does, though, connect to the idea of access. So rather than remove it, we modify our subtopic area to include other healthcare-related interactions. Note that this shows us that creating an essay is not always a linear process. Sometimes, as we develop our topic, we circle back and we modify a step earlier in the process in order to cover everything that we want to in our essay. Now we're going to develop one of our areas even further. Sometimes we get to a point when we need to develop further and we need to ask a key question. Why? Why access to doctors? Why primary care doctors available in all geographic areas? This question is an important question to ask, not only for development, but to help us address what might be a question in our readers' minds. This is how we would answer that. Access to doctors is important because doctors are patients' main connection to good health. The first step in providing access is to make sure that primary care doctors are available in all geographic areas so that health care is available when needed. Government should incentivize doctors to practice in geographic areas of need, including urban and rural areas. It is not always viable for doctors to practice in more remote or less affluent areas, so the government needs to provide tax and other incentives to encourage young doctors to set up practices in areas where there is greatest need. Notice now, by asking and then answering those questions, we have begun to develop what is going to be our actual essay. So we essentially build it with these various steps. Here is what we finally come up with, and you can see that from an outline, we now have the basis for a full essay. We cover access to services, access to doctors, available in all geographic areas, and that is what we have developed. Next up is a video on crafting the effective research paper.